It's basically like online dating, but you're trying to find a dog sitter for your pet. If you're not familiar with Rover, it's a service provided online and in an app where you can sign up to take care of people's dogs, cats, rabbits, really any animal that they have listed. I joined in April of 2018 to make some extra money to pay off my student loans. And I honestly think that you could make a significant amount of money in it, so I wanted to make this video to kind of help you create a profile that's going to get you the maximum amount of money. 3 areas are going to determine how successful you are: your profile, your service costs, and your availability. So I'm going to talk about each one. So the very first thing you should do is complete your profile and make sure that you're including as many details about yourself as you can. When you're filling out your profile, you can list what kind of animals you're comfortable with. Say there are certain breeds that you find really aggressive, like you don't like being around German Shepherds, or you can't handle the size of a Great Dane. You can make those preference changes in your profile, and I think it's really important because you don't want to waste someone's time when you realize that they have a pit bull mix that you're not sure you're going to be comfortable with. For me, I have everything set to available except for dogs over, I think it's 150 pounds, because I know that I'm not going to be able to control a 150-pound dog if I'm taking it for a walk. So I'd rather save myself the trouble of meeting with someone who has a dog that's a Great Dane or a Mastiff that is just going to literally drag me down the street if it chases a squirrel or something like that. Aside from preferences like that in your profile, you are able to write a little like bio, and I think a lot of people take this area for granted because it's a potential area where you can let owners know your specialties and what you can provide for them. They are paying you to take care of a family member. I have 3 dogs, so I know that if I'm going to pick someone on Rover, I want their profile to be as specific as possible. I want to know their qualifications and their experiences before I even consider calling them. Whatever your circumstances are, just make sure that your profile is reflective of who you are as a person, because I find that a lot of the people who have booked me mention things that I've put in my profile. My profile is a few paragraphs long, so the fact that they took the time to read all of that really shows that they care about their pet and they really want to get to know who you are as an individual because they expect to be working with you a long time. A lot of the clients that I have today are actually clients that I earned back in 2018. So I've been working with them for about 2 years now. And honestly, the way you're going to make a lot of money is when you make really good first impressions and those people keep rebooking you because they trust you. It saves you time. You don't have to go and meet the dog and meet a person that's new every single time. The second thing that determines how successful you're going to be is what you set your service rates at. What I did before I even considered setting my rates was I went on Rover posing as someone who's looking for a dog sitter, and I just like typed in my zip code and a whole list of available people popped up, and it shows their rates for the specific service that I typed in. So what you're doing is market research for what your rates should be set at. A lot of people suggest that when you're starting out you should set your rates like $2 or $3 lower than the people in your area because people want to pay less money for a service. But I don't think that's necessarily true. While you are starting out like new, you don't have reviews, people don't know if you're like trustworthy yet, I think you're really setting yourself up for a potential failure, because if you change your rate from $15 to $20, you're going to have to explain to people who have already booked you that may want to rebook you why your prices went up. I didn't want to have to do that, so I just set my rates as I intended them to be for my general area. I think it's really beneficial to do this because you don't want to undersell yourself. For example, if you're house sitting, you might think, oh, $35. That's a good amount of money to charge someone for me to stay overnight at their house. But then if you go and you look on Rover and you search your area, everyone else might be charging $50. So by neglecting to do your market research, you're cutting yourself short of $15 per night. The third thing that determines how successful you're going to be is updating your availability. Rover has a calendar on your profile which you can use to update your availability for holidays or weekends or whatever dates come up. And for me, I basically make myself available the whole time. It's important for you to keep that updated because there are some people who will literally book you 2 months in advance because they want to ensure that you are going to be available, that they don't have to worry about it last minute and worry about having to meet someone new that they don't know, that they don't trust. So the biggest takeaway for availability would be that you need to make yourself available as often as possible. It really sucks if you wanted to take a vacation over the holiday, but if you want to make extra money and you need to make extra money to pay off either credit card debt or student loans or whatever, you need to make yourself available for these holidays because you can charge more for a holiday rate. So while these 3 things are going to determine how successful you are, please do not be afraid to say no to a client if you do not feel comfortable with their dog. Make sure you schedule a meet and greet before you actually book a sitting because for some reason the animal might not like you. That being said, when you do a meet and greet, make sure you ask important questions. Does your dog take medication? Is your dog fixed? Do they run away? Are they prone to chasing animals? This is all information that's really important for you to have because you are taking care of someone else's dog, and if something happens, that's your responsibility. Rover does have a dog insurance policy that you're basically paying for when they take that 20% cut from your service rate, but you just want to be on the safer side. You want to be ready for anything that could happen. So how much money have I made with Rover? I live in an area that's sub-rural, which means that there are a lot of farms where I live, which is unfortunate for me because when you're setting up your profile, there's an opportunity to change your service radius, which means how far you will travel to a customer's home. What are you doing? And my service radius is set to 10 or 15 miles, but I'm surrounded by farms, and a lot of that space in a suburban area would be filled out with suburbs. So I'm at a disadvantage because those farms are taking up space in my 10-mile radius where I can't provide a service because there are no people there. There are just cows. And it's just very unfortunate. So the fact that I still managed to make money is honestly, I'm kind of grateful for it. So as I said, I joined Rover in April of 2018. And that year, I ended up making $2,155 by the end of the year. Which, honestly, an extra $2,000 is great. Especially when you're just going to people's houses and letting their dogs out or feeding their cats. You're not doing a lot of work. You're getting paid to play with animals. In 2019, I made $3,350, which is significantly more. And I think this has to deal with the fact that some of my customers started paying me on Venmo or PayPal. So I'm not suggesting that you ask your customers to pay you via Venmo or PayPal because if you do that, Rover does not cover any situations where a dog will get lost, get injured, get sick. So at your own discretion, do that. This year, even with COVID, I've made $2,581. And honestly, a lot of that has been after 4th of July weekend. I think after the quarantine lifted, people were antsy to go on vacation, so I was getting a lot of requests for last minute weekend travels, which honestly, I'm not going anywhere, and if I can make extra money, then why wouldn't I? I think Rover is a great opportunity if you're a college student or if you are just out of college and still don't have a full-time job, or if you do have a full-time job and you're trying to do something extra on the side or something extra on the weekends. Definitely try Rover. There's zero investment cost, and you can always just discontinue your profile if you decide that it's too much work or you're not getting enough clients. I really hope that you're as successful, if not more, than I am, because making about $8,000 over the course of 2.5 years by literally taking care of cats and dogs, and in some situations a rabbit and a pony. It's been a lot of fun. So yeah, hopefully this video helped you, and if you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. I am going to be taking care of this dog now.